So hey guys, we're back again. Hope you guys are doing well. So I want to go on Reddit. Sometimes we go on Reddit just to see what's popping, what's going on, because usually that's where you get the most amount of what people are usually talking about. So yeah, let's do Reddit. So I have this article, essentially talking about. The question is, does anyone else feel like they are becoming a configuration engineer instead of a web developer? And I'm gonna read it for you. Not that you can read for yourself, but hey, I'm here to do it for you. I decided to spin up a new side project this weekend. I had a clear idea. The motivation was high. I had my coffee ready. Of course. Here's how my coding session went. Coding in quotes. I don't know what that means. Spend 30 minutes fighting an ESLint versus pretty a conflict. Classic. Spent 45 minutes debugging a TypeScript error that only exists in VS Code but compiles fine. Wasted an hour trying to fix a peer dependency warning that shouldn't matter but bothers me. We've had that before. Something so stupid that it doesn't even matter, but like just because you see that squiggly line from a ESLint or prettier, mostly ESLint or a TypeScript, and then you just want to scratch that itch. Oh, okay. So wasted an hour trying to fix a peer dependency warning that shouldn't matter but bothers me. Spent 20 minutes figuring out why Tailwind classes weren't compiling. I've had that before, especially when you try to implement Tailwind in some environment where it wasn't purposely made to work. So you're trying to figure out a way to make it work in a place where there's not really a proven path to doing that. Not that you can do it, but like you're going to struggle. Trust me. Without documentation or like examples from other people, you're gonna have to come up with the way. Just following the general documentation is just general. It goes with the in the popular platforms, but like if you want to implement it somewhere else, a little bit of a struggle. By the time I actually got to writing the app.tsx, I was so mentally drained, I just closed the laptop. I feel like 5 years ago, I spent 90% of my time coding features. Now I spend 90% of my time acting as a mediator between 15 different config files that all hate each other. Yeah. Yeah. Is it just me, or has the DX developer experience paradoxically made it harder to just start? And it has like a 216 upvotes, 60 comments. I wonder what they're saying in the comments, because honestly that's like the most interesting part of this, just the comments. So these people are gaslighting you. Who's gaslighting who? Okay, these people are gaslighting you. I'm gonna read it from here. Less distracting. These people are gaslighting you. While I agree, there are many resources for bootstrapping a working config initially, that doesn't change the fact that the configuration requirements have gotten pretty hard, with many breaking versions and standards between ESLint configs, TS configs, bundling configs, and more. It can get frustrating. Just keep in mind that these are all tools that are supposed to make things easier, not harder. Start minimal and add as you need. More experienced with what they're doing for you, that's worth this frustration. That's true though. That's good advice. Like sometimes when you start, depending on the size of the project, you might even be implementing things that maybe you don't need. Of course, it's a good thing to have, like, but like don't go crazy. If you have like a prettier config, just go with the standard. Don't try to do something crazy or like tailor it, especially if it's like one project and you're like the only guy working on it. It's not worth the effort. Just take the standard one and just work with it as is. Same thing for ESLint. Go with like the very basic one. Like there's like templates out there for ESLint configs that has like the most like of what you would need generally. Philip Ebert. I don't know if I'm supposed to hide the users, but like I don't think so. It's public information. I'm not even logged in. Same here, mate. Now we jumped on new.net for some reason, and I think we should wait a little more. I mean, it's quick, but almost nothing. Have new versions ready to meant to use. So now we're just waiting, updating 1.2 in a few days. Getting yelled at because it's our fault. Nothing works. Can you imagine that? Just like yeah, like the possibility of like using a new tool. It's very attractive. But then you have to remember at the end of the day, like if it's your part of your work, people above you or like the other teammates, they don't care. Like, I'm not saying teammates, like if you have like a UI UX or like some other team that depends on you as a developer or like your team as a developer, they don't care that however technical things get, because they don't understand that those things, and then it's not part of what they do, so they don't have to understand it. But yeah, like they might have like you may have some upward downward pressure coming from them to make things happen, and you're stuck with this. I'm not very familiar with .NET. I've had a few projects with it, but I'm not like very super deep in it. So I did a few projects when I was trying to learn C#. It seemed pretty solid, most of it, if you just go by whatever everybody else is using, like whatever is the current one. I think you'll be fine. But like for like huge apps, it's not a very flexible platform to build on. So I think like those huge apps, of course, it's gonna get complicated. But then like the stability is what people go to those things for. So I think in the end it's worth it to kind of move to the newer version. But you gotta be smart about it, the way you do it, just so you give yourself enough time to work throughout those hurdles, of course. Configuration can take a while, but once it's done, right? Now you can get your head down and focus on what you want to build. Not really. Right, onto some packages or other updates that you're back in hell. That's true, because this is what I say. Unless it's like for security reasons, don't. Because I've seen this before. I've had it too. Like feeling the need to just keep on updating. You don't have to do that. Trust me, you don't have to do that. Just like if you have a working version, especially if it's it's not a library that's very involved in. Well, it depends. If it's a library that's pretty much involved in your app at every step, like if it's a security concern, just update and then deal with it right away. If it's just like a minor update or maybe like a quality of life update, I say be smart about it. Because you may end up breaking your entire app for the sake of just updating a package that maybe you don't even use that much. Maybe the new benefits don't outweigh the hurdles you're gonna go through. So plan wisely and make sure that the update is actually worth updating. It's all fun and games until those libraries decide to reinvent itself 999th time with less features and more bugs. And suddenly every guide and tutorial is outdated. That's what happens with JavaScript. Most of the times, one change and then everything, and they don't document that well. I hate that. And then you keep finding like different versions, and then things get lost in the way. There's this library I used on a project we were working on, and then it got whoever used to run the project is open source, but like whoever used to run it, the org that used to take care of it, decided to hand it over to somebody else. It's still open source, but like that somebody else, whatever they created on the website to kind of like as a documentation purposes, ended up missing a few features that actually exist. So when you go into TypeScript and you examine it further, you can find things that they don't list on the website. So that's kind of like a discrepancy that happens. And if you're not somebody who have this version history, you might think maybe the library is missing a few features when it actually do have them. So JavaScript, it moves fast, but also breaks things. Like, was that Zuckerberg who said it? I don't remember. I got about halfway through this post, realized you're using React, and now your post makes sense. As a long-time Angular developer who recently tried React again, why you gotta do it again? You try it again. I can see your frustration. It's terrible, simply unbelievable to me that's the price of trash somehow became the default for web development. I'll reiterate, it's terrible. DX is completely shut. Just like how it's incredible to me that JavaScript is the language of the web, it's equally unbelievable to me that React is the framework that won. It goes again to prove that developers are a bunch of sadomasochists. Is that so? Is that what you think? Team portray. Yeah, we're not gonna go into this. Like React has its own space, and there's a reason why it won over the other frameworks that there are. I do like Angular. I do like Vue. I do like React. But like React, there's a reason why React is popular. Trust me, there is. I've tried even something like Astro. Astro is less opinionated, but a bit more flexible than the others. But it has its own thing going on, and I do enjoy it quite a bit. The fact that you can use JSX components, work as if you're working in Vue or whatever, and it just takes anything you give it, that's a plus for me. But yeah, like Angular for large projects where you need everybody to be on the same page, it's best to use Angular. React has a bit more flexibility, but even React nowadays, when you have frameworks like Remix, Next.js, and whatnot, it's definitely better than it was before. Let's just say that before, when you used to just do Create React, and everybody had their own version of things going on and their custom solutions. Yeah, but like yeah, there's ups and downs to each. I don't think it's about React per se. Angular has its own way of handling these the packages and the configurations, since it's more opinionated. So yeah, he's right to some extent. We're not gonna read all of them. I think we get the thing. We're gonna read one more. What are you configuring? Starting a Vite project with all those libs take maybe 5 to 10 minutes at most. That time includes 5 minutes coming up with a repo name. You literally just copy and paste commands. I do know with those black box presets package like CRA, you can get started quickly, but inevitably you have to eject and you have a mountain of complexity to figure out down the road. I honestly find that just doing everything as vanilla as possible and really being intentional with NPMI ends up being the best balance of long-term and short-term dev experience. I hate to be that guy, but we don't really use CR. Yeah, that's true. Create React app. That's done. Yeah. So essentially, like, it's a very common sentiment, at least amongst developers, that we end up just working as the glue between these multiple technologies that we're trying to cram together and get them to work with each other in order to deliver something that works in the end as a product, as a service, or whatever we're working on. So I think it's very important that you embrace all of those. Like the configuration part of it might get frustrating, but like at the end of the day, just know the reason why you're doing something. The reason why you're doing something in the end is like to deliver a product, and you'll get to code. Don't worry, you get to code. And if you need more coding, just do some lead code or something. So I don't think it's a problem, but I do understand like the sentiment that everything now you have a lot more to do in terms of configuration. And so, yeah, some people like it, some people hate it. I feel no way about it. I just find it as a means to an end. So what do you think? Do you like, does it get you frustrated? Do you feel like the same as this guy? You feel like a configuration engineer, or do you feel like an engineer that has to do some configuration to get started and for the quality of life of the project? Tell me what you think below. Let me know, and don't forget to subscribe, and we'll catch you next time.